Hi, my name is Ava Amble, and something that I have learned so much about throughout the semester is the issue of labor trafficking and forced labor and how it really does directly impact my life. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about what I've learned and just how I've realized that I play a role in the demand for forced labor. So, one of the most significant takeaways that I have from this semester is just the way that supply and demand um, truly contribute to human trafficking. So basically, what that means is that where there is a demand for something, there will also be a supply that exists for that. And so the way that this relates to labor trafficking is because there is a demand for products and goods, and especially as Americans, we need things, we want things, or we think we need them at least. And so we had so many in class discussions, and we read a lot of really good material that talked about this. But one statistic that really stood out to me was that 5% of the world, so the populations of the United States and Canada, control 31.5% of the world's private consumption expenditures. And the article quoted, "Inequality leaves capitalism with a dilemma." So, where there's inequality throughout the world, meaning that there's people in the United States that have these huge disposable incomes and they have very little needs, whereas there's kids and people living in third world countries that have a lot of needs but they don't have the purchasing power. Consumerism just widens that gap further and further. And because we have the purchasing power, it makes us believe that we have to spend it on things that we don't actually need. And so, really, every day, we are contributing to the demand for forced labor by giving our money to the products and things and stuff that makes up and truly consumes our lives. Um, and so the article said, it talked about this really powerful quote, and it said, "Part of the solution is a mental adjustment that Americans can make. It is very easy for consumers to blame corporations, especially big corporations, for many of the world's problems. When we learn that the things that we eat, wear, and drive are made with the products of slavery, we feel angry, and the companies that sold us those goods are usually the ones we'll blame first. Consumers have to share responsibility with retailers, wholesalers, producers, and the importers of goods and raw materials, all the way back to the ultimate damning culpability that falls on the criminal who uses slaves. For the average citizen, this responsibility is uncomfortable, but the truth is that there would be no slave-made goods in the shops unless people were ready to buy them." And so throughout this semester, I've just been reflecting on the things that I buy, where I spend my money, the stores that I shop at, and I realize that as much as I, in my heart, want to care about labor trafficking, as someone that's so influenced by consumerism, my wallet and my pocketbook and my spending are saying that I actually care more about myself than I do about enslaved people that are trafficked into forced labor throughout the globe. And so, my biggest takeaway from this semester is that I want to move from being a consumer to being a global citizen and being someone that chooses products that are fair trade, that are sustainably sourced. I've already done some research, and some companies that stood out to me was that American Apparel uses a vertically integrated supply chain, so they know exactly where all of their products are coming from. And Levi Strauss is setting standards for their own factories and all the companies that supply to them. So I know that there's companies that are out there that are taking steps to address forced labor in their supply chains and in the goods that I am purchasing. And so I want to make sure that my dollars are rewarding those companies instead of being spent towards the cheaper clothes that I know are coming at a cost to a slave's life somewhere in the world.